Yo guys, it's Kyle coming at you from Bane's Film Reviews. I just saw Nosferatu, directed by Robert Eggers, starring Bill Skarsgård, Lily Rose Depp, and Nicholas Hoult. If you know the story, you know the story. If you don't, I'm not going to explain it to you. This story's been around for hundreds of years. So, I had heard that this is potentially one of the best horror films of 2024, and while I am seeing this in 2025, it did come out last month and effectively last year. And I found that 2024 was, in a lot of ways, the year of horror flicks. Between Longlegs and Heretic, I think those are some of the best horror films that I've ever seen in my entire life. And there were other films that measured up and were almost as good as that. So to say that Nosferatu is potentially the best horror film of 2024, if not one of the best horror films of all time, that's a lot to live up to. So I went into this film with an open mind, as I always do, hoping that it lived up to that hype, but not expecting something that extravagant. So what did I think? I thought that this was a wonderfully made film. And I just want to start with the thing that I found most appealing was this score. This score is beautiful. It is interestingly romantic. And it's really emotional. And I think you're supposed to get that emotion from it. There is obviously a romantic aspect to this story, but the score brings it to new levels and really strengthens the emotional aspect of this film and deepens the meaning behind the story. So the score was my absolute favorite part. Then there's the acting. I think everyone's spectacular. You have heard of most of these actors. There's also Aaron Taylor Johnson and Willem Dafoe, and I'm drawing a blank on her. Oh, Emma Corrin. These are actors that have established themselves in the mainstream and have been successful for years now. And everything that you'd anticipate they can bring to the table, they do here, and they're spectacular in their roles, regardless of how small or how large they are. They absolutely slay these performances, and they help to develop emotion, but they also help to develop intensity, an intensity that continues to grow throughout the course of the film, which is absolutely essential to the film's success. Without that, insane intensity, this film does not work. Now, with that, I found the pacing to be very, very slow. I guess it's sort of the point, and I over and over in my head while I was watching this film, I tried to think to myself, how could the pacing have been better? What could they have done to improve on this aspect of the film? And I don't have an answer for that. So I'm just going to chalk that up to personal preference. And I'm assuming, again, that they wanted this film to move very slowly. They wanted it to be a slow burn. And they're effective in that way. But it was just a little bit too slow for my liking. But I'm not really going to penalize the film for that because, again, that is my own preference. And I think that they are successful in what they set out to do in that regard. Then you have the color, the physical aesthetic of this film. While the film that came out 100 years ago was entirely in black and white for, well, obvious reasons. It came out 100 years ago. This film does start in black and white. And as we transition a little bit further in time to, I think it was 1838 in Germany, we are no longer black and white. We're no longer monochromatic, but the way that Eggers shoots this film and develops the color in this film, it almost feels like black and white. He uses very simple tones. Most of the costumes are black and white with gray. You get some browns in there, and the occasional character does wear a blue or a red, but it's always drab and it's very worn so that those blacks and whites are the most forward and prominent featured colors in the scenes. And I think that again helps to develop the intensity, much like these actors and the pacing of the film do. And I found them absolutely beautiful and brilliant. I think Eggers creates a film that is so aesthetically pleasing, which is so interesting because there are some truly visually disturbing things in this film, intentionally. That's part of this film and that's part of this story. And to juxtapose that with these these very black and white, almost black and white. Again, it's not all black and white too, but to present us with this juxtaposition is so incredible, and that itself is intense. And I love what Eggers is able to accomplish throughout the course of this movie, aesthetically, in terms of his score, and then his sound design. Beyond the score, the sound design, particularly Count Orlok when he is sucking the blood of his victims, that sound is so incredible. It's intense. It's blood curdling. It's everything that it's meant to be, and it's so successful. I absolutely love this film. Do I love this film as much as I enjoyed Heretic? No, because I really enjoyed the thrilling aspect of Heretic. And did I enjoy it as much as I liked Longlegs? No, because I liked the over-the-top, maybe too much, like overacting of Nicolas Cage in Longlegs. That really did it for me in that film. And that's not something that I usually say, but I was very drawn to his performance in that film. So, is it one of the best horror films of 2024? Absolutely. It is the first thing that I've watched in 2025 because, well, as of right now, it's only been about 14 hours. So, this is a great start to 2025. I am not in any way upset that I spent my New Year's Day watching this film, and I would absolutely encourage you guys to watch this. I am landing on an 8.5 as my rating because I am taking a half a point away for that pacing. Now, don't let that deter you because, again, I think that is my personal preference opposed to it just not being paced well. I think that Eggers and his team do exactly what they wanted to do. They accomplish everything that they wanted to in this film, including the pacing. But for my own personal preference, I am going to dock it a half of a point and give Nosferatu an 8.5 out of 10. I don't anticipate this film being in theaters much longer. So if you have a chance today, tomorrow, maybe you have the next couple days off because it's the new year, I encourage you to go out and watch this film. Don't bring your kids. Don't bring people that are squeamish. But if you like a good horror film, if you like a good thriller, if you are drawn to filmmaking, not necessarily just a finished product, but how that product was made, this is absolutely a film for you, and I would encourage you to go watch this. So I hope that this is a sign of what is to come for the rest of 2025 in terms of film. I really did enjoy this film very much, and I'm glad that this was the first one that I sat down to watch. So, until next time, peace.